I want to change this output. So all I need to do is change the format. Now I am going to do this. I'm going to do FM, then I will do D, right? Are you watching? SPTH. So I want it spelled out. This date, like this 17 that you're looking at, will be spelled out as in 17th. That is the meaning of the SP. So DD stands for day. The SP means you are going to spell that day. So 17 will be 17, SEVEN. Then the TH means that I am adding 17th. You understand me? So 17th of June 2003. That's what I want. That is the way I want it to come out. So that's what I want to, the format I want to give you. So I put this on 70 SSP like that. That off, you know that in this date now, there is no off inside this date. Even when you have it like this, you cannot find any off here. It is saved in a date format like this in the database. But I want it to come out as 17th of June 2003. That's how I want it to come out. It is never saved like that in the database. But that is how I want my output to be. So I am the one that is going to write it in my script by calling a function, tocha, and then I will supply that date column to it. And I will define the format in which I want it to come out. So yeah, the rule is telling me that if I'm going to introduce a string literal, I have to put that string in what? In a double quote. So I will type my double quote like that. And then I'll put off inside it. 17th of, then I will now type the month like this, which means I want the month spell out the first letter uppercase, subsequent ones lowercase. Then I will put space. Then I will type the full year. I want the full year to come out. So Y, 4. That covers, is like a placeholder that is going to hold it. So it is the 4 complete number of the year that I want it to return. So this is what I want. I want to run this one. Did you see the way it came out? 17th of June 2003, 21st of September 2005. Okay, let me show you. Let me add another column here. Let me add the column as it is in the database, which is what? Higher date. Right? Comma. So this is it, right? So let's run it again. Now, can you see? In the database, this is how it is saved. 17 June 03. Calendar, the day, the month spelled out with 3 characters in uppercase, and then the final 2 digits of the year. That is how it is saved in the database. But look at the way I want it. This is the way I want it. And you can see that column name, month hired, the alias, exactly the way I spell it because I put it in a double quote. It came out that way. So I can fine-tune my output the way I want it by understanding those functions and the format. So when you see a program and you are seeing something come out in a particular format, this is how they achieved it. Are you with me? Then another thing I want to tell you is that the way the date is saved in the database is saved in, it has all the parameters. There is the century, there is the time, which is the year, the month, the century, everything is saved there. But when it's returning it to you, it's always returning it this way. But that doesn't mean that time is not also there. It is there. So in this my output now, I want the time to also come out. So I'm going to add it inside this format parameter. So I want it to also come out. So I'm going to do, for time, I will still put the FM again, 2 for time. And then I will say HH. I'm not putting 24. So I want it to do 1 o'clock as 1 o'clock. I'm not saying 1 o'clock to be 13. If I want it that way, I will just put 24 in front of this HH. Are you with me? Then I will put the column like this. and then I'll put MI, which is for minute. Then I'll put column again, and then I'll put SS, which is for second. And then I will have the parameter for either PM or AM. But I'll put only AM. This AM simply is a placeholder for both AM and PM. I want my date, this higher date, I want it to be displayed in this format, the whole of this format. Meaning time element is going to come along with it. Because in the database, the time element is also saved. But usually when it is returning it to you, by default, it only returns the day, the month, and the year. Now I want it to return everything, including the time. So I'm going to run this script now. So I will run it. Can you see that? When was the person employed? So this person was employed 17th of June 2003, 12 a.m. Are you with me? Can you see the format that it came? This select clause. The select clause is the output. The from clause is the source. I'm going to now bring in the where clause. I can come here. Let me break this down and bring it here. Then I want to introduce the where clause. So I don't want you to bring out everybody. So I will say where, right? Are you with me? So I can now pick my column name. Let me do it in small case. Where last underscore name equals Austin. So I'll put, since I already know how it is spelled, so I'll put it, I'll spell it the exact way. Austin. So it's going to return only one row to me. The only person in which is going to perform this output on is the person that is equivalent to this guy, which is Austin. So it will go to employee table. You will look at each row. Row 1 will come. Are you Austin? No. Pass. You will not go. Then until it gets to Austin. So when you run this, see, it returns only Austin, and this is what it returns. So this becomes the input. This is the source, and this is the output. So it is based on this guy that you carry out this operation. That is simply what I'm saying. So that is the toucher. That one that I did now, the query that I gave you, is the explicit conversion, meaning you are explicitly defining the function that does the conversion for you. Are you with me? Okay. In this case now, let's see from here. I say from employees, where, let's introduce another, where higher date equals, like this person now, I can now say, I can put it in string. The way I'm going to define it, 25 dash June right dash 05. Because I put it in a string, the system is going to do an implicit conversion to date format and run and bring out the output. See, it brought it out. So the system did this by itself. I didn't call any function. Like in this place, I didn't call any function. Are you with me? So this is the Oracle server implicitly doing the conversion from this character into a date format, and then comparing it with what we have as what is returned and giving me a value. But if I want to supply the date to this higher date in the format that I want, not the format in which it is, which is this one, the system did this automatically by itself. But if I want to explicitly define it, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this same query again, and then I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to paste it here. But here, I'm going to say I want to do the to date. I've used tocha. Now I want to use to date. So I'm calling a function to date. I'm saying before you do the comparison, you have to convert it to a date format before you do the comparison. And then look at this now. The moment I type the date, the to date is supplying me the syntax, which is date time, FMT, and NLS param. I'm going to put this in bracket, and I'm going to supply the date. Now, I'm supplying the date in a character form, which is, so since it is character form, I'm going to put it in this. I'm putting the June. You see the way I'm going to supply it? 25, right, comma, 2005. You see the way I supplied it? But now, if I run it, it's going to throw me an error because I have not defined the format, this format that I've just placed here. I have to define it. So I'm going to do comma like this. And then I will type the way I have stated it here. If I leave it that way, if I leave it fully spelled like this, it means that I'm going to write my month in full. Are you with me? I'm going to follow this pattern. Then 25th, which is the day, I'm going to put DD. Then space. I'll put the comma exactly the way I've written the date. Is the way I'm going to define the parameter. So since I'm putting 2005, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the full year. I'm calling a date function. In the database, watch, I'm going to remove this so that you will see what I'm saying. This is what I'm supplying. Let's assume that I supply this. Let me do this. Let me remove this. Let's assume that I supply this to the database. Let's run it. You see, it brought out an error. Why did it give me an error? Let's read the error. An error was encountered performing the requested operation. A non-numeric character was found where a numeric was expected. A non-numeric character was found where a numeric was expected. Cause the input data to be converted using a date format model was incorrect. The input data did not contain a number where a number was required by the format model. Fix the input data or the date format model to make sure the element match in number and type. Then retry the operation. Did you see the error? Are you with me? What happened is that you are supplying an input to this where clause. The where clause is going to go to the employee tables and it will bring out the higher date. The higher date, the way it is returned is like this. The way it is returned is like this. Like this. When it returns it, it's now going to compare it to what you have on this side. It will now see that the way you are sending the input, the format is in character format, while the way in which it's bringing it out is in date format. So the format is not matching. That's why it's showing you that error. It has actually tried to do the implicit conversion, but it's not seeing the matching for you to do the implicit conversion. That's why I gave you the error. So it's now telling you that you have to define the format in the way that the Oracle server will understand it. I'm going to call a function to do it. So that is the same way that we are told that the spirit that we do not know what to pray for, ask for, but the spirit now enables us. What that means is that the spirit now takes what you have presented and now converts it to the format that is in heaven. So it checks your presentation and then converts it to the format that is in heaven. And then it will now see the answer to your request and bring it back to you. Because you don't know how the format in which it is saved. So the way you are asking for it, if you don't have the spirit to enable, to assist you, you will just be praying in vain and be praying and praying and praying and praying. No response, no output will be coming. Because the way you are presenting it is not the way it is saved. Are you with me? Did you get that, my illustration? Hello? So now, you are now saying what you want to do now by calling this function now is, is like saying you are calling the spirit to say, this is my request. Please take this my request, go to the database and bring the answer, the solution for me. The spirit is the one that will help do that conversion for you. So like that spirit now is what we are now going to call a function. Because I supplied an input, which is this June 25/2005, and I ran it and error came out. Because there's no way such thing, there is no such data type in the database. I am now saying I don't know how it was saved in the database. So I'm going to call a function to help me. And that function is toDate. So to_date. And then I'll put in parentheses. Now, I will not supply it like this. If I supply it like this, if I just put it like this, the function 2 still will not understand what I've supplied. If I run this again, I will get an error. See, it's still giving me an error. Are you with me? So why is the error? It's saying that this argument that I've supplied, there has to be a format that I have to define for the function to understand. So I will now put comma. That format is what I want to define now. And that format has to be the way this my date is written. So my date is written as June with uppercase as the first letter. So I'm going to write month like this in full. So the toDate function will understand that, okay, this is how the month is coming. I will put space because I have one space there. Then the day, the format is, the element is DD. I put it like that. Then I put space again. Okay, I didn't put, it's comma I put. And I did not put space. So I'm going to put the YY. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you with me? And that format, this element, I have to put it in single quote. I have to put it in single quote. So this is the way I have supplied the thing. Now I am going to run it. You see, it brought it out. So it took this. Now I'm going to explain something to you now. Two things are happening here. I'm calling two functions in this my query. In the input, I am calling a function. In the output, I am also using a function. So I'm using two functions here. I'm using toDate function, and in my output, I'm using toChar function. Don't get confused. This is the source. This is the input. This is the output. So I'm saying, go to this source, look for this person, and give me in this format. So I am praying. When I prayed, I'm calling the Holy Spirit to assist me because I don't know how to pray. So I just pray the way I am praying it. But I'm telling the Holy Spirit, this is what I want. So it's taking the format that I've supplied, month, day, year, in this format. And you were asking me about the fx. If I put fm, okay. If I put fx here, and then I put, in this place, I put space. If I run it, error. Do you know why it gave me error? Illegal year entered. Look at the error it gave me. Because this fx is saying that whatever I put, if I don't put the fx, I run it, it came out. Now, look at what happened. Look at this, my date. I put it as June, space 25, comma, space 2005. But look at my format. My format, I put month, which stands for the June. Then I put space DD, which is correct here, space the date. But here I put space after the comma. Here I didn't put space, and it gave me an output because the system automatically padded. It padded this one with this space. But when I put this fx, I am saying give me that thing exactly the way it is. Because I didn't put the space here and there is a space here, the system threw me an error. If I run it, there will be an error. Can you see? There's an error. But if I now come here, it's saying that I must specifically put it the exact way I have written it. So I'll put space here. When I run it, it came out. Are you seeing the function of that FMT, which is the format modifier, the FX and the FM? The FX means you must give me the format the exact way you have written the date. If not, I will not go. I will not see it. But if I don't put the FX, I put FM, and then I move this one here, and I run, it came out, no error. Meaning it's going to do the padding. I don't necessarily have to follow it the way I've arranged it here. That is just the difference. I run it, it's going to give me. So, month, day, YY. So it takes this, it converts it to date before supplying it to this higher date as a comparison. So when this higher date comes, it will now check it is in the same date format. Then it will now perform this on it. Now, I am using a function here, which is tocha, to say that when you are now returning this date to me, return it in this format, return it in this way, which is month, and year. If I don't call this, if I don't use this function, if I don't use this here, and I just put higher date, it's going to return it to me the way it is in the database. If I just type here, higher date, without using function, it's going to return it, and it's going to return that column as month hired because it's still alias. See? It's coming out the way it is saved in the database.